Hey, good morning guys. It's Gary with another update on the Shoplife video series here on the Old Barn Homestead channel. Put up a little video on the Turbo Cobra channel of the mill getting moved in. I've had that footage for a while, lost some of it, but wanted to get that edited and get that up there, so got that done. Worked on this a little bit. I did a milling project on it that I'm filming, videoing, and I started, somebody in the video said, man, you need to oil those ways, and so I used some of the Vactra whey oil and oiled the ways. I need to clean them up a little bit better. I cleaned them up some and then oiled them, but you can still see they got some black stuff streaking from underneath them, underneath the table mount there. But a question for you is, let me crank this out. Sorry about the shaky cam. There's several places, fittings here to shoot some oil in here. You see one there that's, I'm assuming that's, yeah, I guess it has to be buried like that. And then there's one right there, and there's two on the side of this guy, which I guess those put oil on the screw. I don't know. So what do I use on that, and what do I use to apply oil into that? I'm assuming I'd use oil and not grease. I guess whey oil. I don't have any, I mean, I've got a regular grease gun that I can shoot grease into there, but I don't have anything I can shoot oil with. I don't know how to shoot oil out of a grease gun. Just don't have experience with it. I started cleaning this up a little bit. You see it cleans up pretty nicely. It removes, there's no way to get this, I mean, there is some stuff on here. Let me show you right there. I don't know what that is, just years of no telling, but it is, you can see it's just nasty, and it will not come off. You know, if you get anything strong enough to take that off of there, it starts removing the paint. And you see that gold paint underneath here? You know, Powermatic has two different color themes to their products, and they have a gold line of stuff that where they painted stuff gold, and I'm wondering if this came off of a gold version of this, the motor. Like I said, the switch looked like it had been messed with. You can see, I'm guessing that's not factory. That's one of the caps, I guess, went out on it and they added that on there. It doesn't look factory to me. You see the tape on it there. But let me know what you think about the about applying some oil in that, how to get oil in there. I do not want to paint this thing, and it, you know, I think it would look good if I just get it cleaned up, get all the gunk off of it everywhere, maybe do something with this, you know, where I had to remove all the paint to weld it, and then just apply some wipe-on poly or something, you know, some clear coat on top of that, just to make it easy to clean up with. Because I think when you get stuff on this, it's going to want to stick to it and you know, be harder to clean. Like if you and if I'd put a clear coat, like a wipe-on poly on there, just wipe it on and leave it. This is the intake. I milled out the inside of this intake. This is a collaboration project with the fine folks over at Everything Garage channel, and so you'll see in the video, but this had a webbing all raised up inside here, and I milled it all flush with the floor of the intake, and then came back and hand filed and chamfered those holes, because where I milled it off, it milled off the radius and put a square edges on all these. So did a little hand work on it, and then I've got this plate that I've started to work on to get fitted up. He had already cut the top off of it, and I really wish he had not done that, because, you know, he cut it down in there, and it really should have been left. Even if this had a different seam line here, it should have been cut straight around there so that I could get the fit up better. So I got some work to do to get this to fit, you know, welding a 1/4 inch aluminum plate to probably a 3/16 thick casting. Getting my share of aluminum welding lately. I'd like to put a shout out to Eco Mouse. He has a YouTube channel with a very small following, but has some pretty cool videos on it so far. and he's doing kind of what we want to do here, you know, interior decor, restaurants, things like that, and maybe a little bit different what he's doing. I'm not exactly sure all what he does, but check him out. He made a video on one of these a little while back, and I had to have one, and so we're going to set this up with a I bought a foot pedal to rig up to use with it. But I'd love to have an iron worker. It's just, you know, 5 or 10 grand that's not in the works right now. But this really, the main thing I wanted an iron worker for is to, you know, is to punch holes with. The other stuff on it would be cool to have, but I don't really have a business need for it. But you can see this is a 1/4 inch thick steel here, and this thing pops a hole in it like nobody's business. I also did a little work just seeing about slotting. You know, sometimes you need to slot out something, and if it doesn't need to be super accurate, you could use this to slot with. I've milled out a bunch of slots on that little baby Grizzly over there, and man, talk about taking forever to mill out a slot in 1/4 inch steel. We could do it faster on that, and definitely faster on the Cincinnati over there. But I'll put a link to Eco Mouse's channel. He's got, you know, just a handful of subscribers. He's going to grow his channel. It's going to get bigger. You can just tell the guy's creative and got some good stuff going on there. And he, you know, he's kind of a wise guy, so you got to watch him on the comments. You know, he will not mince words. He'll be glad to bust you on something if you give him a chance. But I think he's a good dude. Check him out. All right, guys, have a good one. See you.